Welcome back. Today we're going to look a little bit at strategic planning. Someone once said that failing to plan is planning to fail. 2 Chronicles chapter 1 verse 10 says, "Give me the knowledge I need to lead this great nation of yours." That's King Solomon speaking when he asked God for wisdom. You know, when you're thinking about what it is that God has called you to do as a church, as a ministry, as a leader, you need to begin to look at things from different angles. One of the things I've found really helpful through the churches that I led in the United Kingdom, and even now as we're engaged in Southern Africa in missionary work, I found these kind of questions helpful for me. Firstly, looking within the organization. What are we doing from the perspective of those that we currently work with? Then to look from another perspective outside of the organization. What are we doing from the perspective of someone who doesn't belong to us, who doesn't know anything about us other than the fact maybe that we exist as a church or a ministry? Then what are we doing from the current point of view? What does your situation look like from where you are standing right now? And finally, from a future point of view, what does the situation look like months from now? What trends are developing in the world, in society? What trends are developing in Christian ministry? And how do those things affect what we're doing and where we want to go? See, those kind of questions and looking at things from a perspective help us to see a bigger picture. They help us to avoid the little sentence that is a trap for most ministries and churches that say, "But we've always done it this way." When you come across those kind of things in church life, when someone doesn't want change, they will often say those kind of words, "We've always done it this way." Those are words of a dying ministry and a dying church. What we should be asking is, where do we go to from here? And to do that, we're going to need a strategic plan. We're going to be able to say, what does our future look like? Where are we now? How does our past inform us? And how do we put all that together to begin to move forward? Stephen Covey, who wrote probably one of the most famous books on success, The 7 Habits of Successful Leaders, it's now 8 actually, he's added to that, but some of the principles we find there will help us in just our strategic planning, and just by heading, these are the kind of things he looked at. Firstly, proactive control your circumstances. Realize that you have more power where you are than you realize. Secondly, begin with the end in mind. Only do things that take you towards the end goal. In other words, don't be distracted by things that come along that might be detours but don't take you where you're wanting to go. Thirdly, put first things first. Implement your strategy and stick with it. Fourthly, think win-win. What he means by that is we only achieve great things through shared effort. No leader is going to be an island. No leader is going to be on their own. You're going to have other people. Number 5, seek first to understand and then to be understood. It's very important. We've got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. One of the things that leaders don't do in the planning stage is listen to what other people are saying. As a leader, you might have the majority of your vision. You might have most of what God is saying to you. You might have 80% of it, but you need the information from those around you to inform it and inform the implementation of it. Seek first to understand and then be understood. 6th, synergize. Build a team around your purpose. One of the things that's really difficult in some of our African settings that we're working in now is that pastors have expressed that they don't get to choose their team. Their leadership team is chosen purely by the church. And sometimes that team is chosen to keep the pastor humble. That can be really difficult, but within that setting, in those initial days, you have to make sure that the team that you are given, or whether you've chosen them yourself, understands the purpose for which they belong, understand what what the ministry stands for and where you're going. Number 7, embrace learning. Allow previous experiences to help us grow. I remember once when I was involved in a multi-million-pound building project, and one of the things that I realized we were going to need for this new church that was being built on the same old site of the old church, we were going to need extra car parking. And so there was an office block across the road from us, and they had a big car park. And I just mooted, I just said in the announcements one day, I said, I think I need to go and talk to the owners of that car park, see if they'll let us use it. And someone came to me and said, oh no, you won't be able to do that because we used to use it many years ago, but then people from church started to use it to park when they went and did their shopping or when they were visiting families, and it was in the week. And so the people actually worked in the building on a Monday through Friday couldn't park in their designated space because church people were in there, and we've been banned. Well, I was letting the past inform our future, but I wasn't going to let us hold us back. I went and I talked with the people who owned the car park, and they were more than happy to help us. So we worked out a permit system, and we made sure that people only parked there on the Sunday, made it clear. You see, your past does not need to control your future. A failure in the past doesn't mean to say it will be a failure in the future, as long as you learn from the mistake that was made. And also, number 8, we need to find our voice, but also help others find theirs. Integrity as an individual is to help others find their voice, help them find their integrity, find their call. So let me ask you this. What's your ministry or your church or your calling? What is it going to look like in 5, 10, 15 years' time from now? See, if I say to you, what do you really want in Christian ministry? You might use the word victory. You might say, I just want to be victorious. I just want everything that God has for me. But sadly, we can use Christian terms in a way that just becomes generic. They just become meaningless because we throw them around so much. Victory becomes the shorthand talk that really describes lots and lots of different things. As I mentioned to you before, one of my favorite authors and speakers was Ed Cole. And one of the things he said is that before you get victory, before you get what you want, you need to ask God for wisdom. And wisdom will lead you to a strategy. And strategy will then take you to victory. And I like to add to that and say, and victory will give God glory, because the glory belongs to Him. See, most people will begin their strategic planning by saying, God, here's the big dream. But we need to ask Him for wisdom. And remember this, vision will explain why, and the mission will explain what, and the people around you is going to explain who. If you can answer those 3 questions, why, what, and who, what is the vision, what is the mission, and who are the people that are going to help us accomplish that which God has put before us, then you're at the beginning stages of a strategic plan. Jehovah,